So what is it? It's March 3rd?
Yeah. What today?
Black History Month's over.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How y'all feeling?
Women's History Month.
Y'all heard your boy Draymond?
Boy,
Draymond said we don't need no Black History Month anymore.
we almost got out the month unscathed. And then Draymond,
missed
shut up and play basketball, Draymond. Shut up and dribble.
Shut up and dribble.
I sound like a Fox News.
Yo. So I missed
You kinda
it.
look like
Where
one,
did-
too. That's
where
crazy.
did he say this?
Okay, yeah, JJ's not on social media.
Well, where did he say this?
So
I
he
think
was.
that was his pod.
No, I think this is regular press.
It was
It was
regular
an
press,
interview?
and he had
After
on.
game.
Yeah,
It was an interview?
And he had on, yes, bro. He had on the shirt that said like Black History Month, and he was making it very clear that he normally would never wear something like that. And he was like, "To be honest, we really need to get rid of Black History Month.
It's clickbait.
We need to teach Black History every day of the year."
Yes, he
was
said
like,
I teach my Black History every day.
I think
January
he
to
said it
December.
backwards then. He
Yeah,
should say we need to expound it for a year.
Right,
Black
and
History.
Not
That's,
get
but that's
rid
not
of it.
Draymond talk.
and
Draymond is also black.
Whoa!
what does that mean?
Like black
Can
as
we-
in
can
the
we-
ethnicity. Fool.
Do we need to?
No, I'm saying like he's
This
black.
is why. That's why we only
What
got
you not-
28
no.
days.
Flex
left.
What I'm
Bombshell.
saying is he's black, so he's teaching his kids Black History Month 365. Everybody ain't doing that.
Well, yes,
Okay.
we
So
understand.
yeah, he can say he can expand it. Now, y'all ain't trying to get me.
We almost got JJ out of here.
Almost got him.
Yeah,
Almost
y'all
got
trying to
him.
get me. No,
Next time.
but I'm saying he can teach his kids. So that's that
But
comment.
we get that, bro. Gosh dang. But can't we not just have the 28? I mean, I'm all for it. Yes,
You
it should
rather
be
28
taught.
than 365?
No, it should be taught 365. But to go and say we need to get rid of
You
it
didn't
after
listen to
we
Tom
fought,
Joyner. You didn't get the little Black History fact of the day.
After
Right.
we fought so hard to get these 28 days, Draymond want us to give them back? Nah, bro. We gonna have our month. Everybody else got a month. We in Witness History Month right now. So,
Period.
start the pod, bro.
Welcome back to another episode of the Soundboard Podcast, episode 68.
Yes, sir.
This is Coop, and I'm joined by
It's your boy Dontae.
and
None other than your boy JJ.
the one and only,
Big KJB.
the biggest.
Yeah.
If this is your first time listening, this is the Soundboard Podcast.
Yes, sir.
We are a couple of guys that have known each other for, is it a decade?
It's over a decade.
It's over, yeah.
Decade and counting.
Yeah.
Decade and counting. And we want to include y'all in our soundboard. What's up, guys? What's going on?
Bro, there's been so much going on. I'm gonna be honest. Personally, I haven't had that much going on in my life. My youngin, she trying out for cheerleading. So
Has she cheerleader before?
No, she's never cheerleader before.
Wait. Never? And she's
Never.
like, it's
so
random?
actually, Jake is more athletic. She usually will do like volleyball. She's played volleyball. She's played soccer. But she really wanted to try out for cheerleading, bro.
I know why.
Why?
the boys?
Yep.
Nah, ain't no
already
boys.
know.
You know what? I'm not even entertaining that because I'm in the same situation.
Exactly.
Alexis
So
trying to
shut
try it
up.
out for
All of
cheer.
us
as well,
sudden-
yeah.
So shut up.
All of a sudden, they want to try out for
And she never
cheerleading.
cheered either?
No.
She just wants to try. She just wants to. You know,
She has a passion for cheering.
I think
I get it. Yeah.
I think for high school,
Yeah.
you're about to piss me off. I think for high school, you're just looking for your group, right? You're looking for
Looking
the
for
place where
something.
that you fit in.
My goodness.
You about to piss me off, and you about to piss me off just like
Calm
Deion
down,
Sanders
Deacon.
pissed me off.
What do y'all do, bro?
What hasn't Deion Sanders did? So the first thing he pissed me off was, y'all know Deion Sanders, he left Jackson State and HBCU. He left them. Now he's in Buffalo, Colorado. And he's just been trying to gear up for the season. He's been trying to make the school seem a little more HBCU like.
He's bringing his Coach Prime, and I mean, I'll say Coach Prime antics. Ooh, sorry. Like everything that he's known for, He's trying to bring it with him.
Well, he's trying to bring the vibe. So this is number one reason he pissed me off. So he has a meeting. He sits down with the band director. He sits down with like the leader of the dancers. And he's basically like, you know, when we was at Jackson State, this is how we did everything. This is how what we came into. This is all this. Knowing dang well they don't know these songs. These bands do not operate like that.
They're musicians. They can learn the music.
They can, but they can't never steal the swag. And that's what he tried to do.
You seem real passionate, my brother.
Because instead of him staying his black behind at Jackson State, he wants to come to a predominantly white school and then trying to turn it into a HBCU.
He brings the show. What's wrong with that?
Shut up.
The problem is you listen to DMX.
What?
DMX said, "You blaze me, I blaze you."
No.
You gave me, I gave you.
No.
Nothing less.
No, I don't like that, bro. I don't like that. I don't like that.
He gave Jackson State something.
So we about to see all these. We about to see the dancers and the band switch up their whole swag because prime time is here.
It's him.
Do you
I
think
don't like
that?
that.
Do you think that they will try? They will actually fulfill that request?
Yes, bro.
I think
So
they will.
They actually. So
Unfortunately.
word has they reached out to a HBCU.
Southern
band.
Boom, right?
Yeah, Southern Boom to be like, hey, put us on. And I'm already upset, bro. I'm upset about it. So that was one of the things Deion Sanders pissed me off.
Well, I think even with that, part of the issue with transferring culture is that part of the allure of HBCUs is that it's a safe place for the culture.
Right.
So when you bring it to a PWI, it might start and it might flourish a little bit, but people aren't going to feel safe with it because it starts to expand out into different other communities and you can't control it anymore.
We have a thing at Southern that we say, especially when it comes to the band.
Where did you graduate from?
I went to Southern University. Why you focus on? Why you focus-
Deion. He went from the
why you
black school
focus
to the
on-
white school.
Why you focus on the wrong thing?
You Deion.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
Exactly.
But y'all acting like this is a new thing.
What's the
I
new
mean,
thing?
we get it.
The culture expands.
No.
We don't get to keep the culture.
No,
It's
we
not-
create it and then people steal it and repackage it as theirs.
Okay, let me ask you this: can Deion steal his own culture?
He could. He ain't.
It's his culture. He's the coach.
No, he ain't preserving it either.
Yeah. So I mean, to that point, as long as Deion holds control over
He
it,
ain't been no
but the
gatekeeper.
reality is once he's done, he can't gatekeep it anymore.
They're not going to keep that. I guarantee, if Deion were to leave, they're not going to keep the same.
If they were winning,
If they're winning, it's going to become a part of the culture.
Yeah, over time.
of the school.
I don't know if that culture is sustainable there.
I think this is so funny that it's sustainable at Colorado, but it was not sustainable at Jackson State.
What are you talking about?
Y'all said Deion was the show. Not Justin was actually on my side. You told me that they cannot sustain it without Deion, but you think
I never said they could not sustain it. I said it's
money
messed
also
up.
changes a lot of
I
things.
said it's messed up. It's messed up that he left and he brought all this awareness and stuff to Jackson State and then left Jackson State.
But you're saying there's going to be a drop off when he left. Otherwise, what's the problem?
I'm saying I do think the resources were going to leave when he left.
I don't know, bro. We'll
Yeah.
see.
So shut up.
I have a new saying. Time will tell.
Is that new?
That's me.
He didn't even make that up.
Quote me.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing he did that pissed me off. The second thing he did, he was on the Rich Eisen show. Y'all gonna quit showing out in front of these other people, and y'all gonna quit doing it during Black History Month. We need to have a come to Jesus moment as a community. So he gets on this Rich Eisen show, and he's talking about what he's looking for in players and like the things that he wants in a player. And this is what he said. He said, we have different attributes: smart, tough, fast, disciplined with character. Quarterbacks are different. He said, we want mother, father, dual parent. We want that kid to be a 3.5 GPA and up because he has to be smart, not bad decisions off the field at all, because he has to be a leader of men. He then says, defensive lineman is totally opposite. Single mama, trying to get it. He's on free lunch. I'm talking about just trying to make it. He's trying to rescue mama. Like mama barely made the flight, and I want him to just go and get it. It's a whole different attribute for the different positions.
So what's the problem?
The problem is when you make blanketed statements like that, you're saying, like, even when he talked about the dual parent the dual parent household. He said because people from dual parent households make better decisions. That's essentially what he said.
You're saying he's eliminating.
Yeah, you can't say just because somebody comes from a single parent home that they don't make good decisions, because essentially that's what he's alluding to. And your son is a quarterback, and Negro, you on your second marriage.
My boy Coop feel different.
I don't care about what Coop got to say.
I think statistics will show.
What, Coop? Tell me about
stability is what he's looking for in his quarterback.
Yes.
If you come from a 2-parent household, there's more than likely you're going to be in more of a stable situation.
Okay. And so you say,
There you go.
and so you're saying just because you come from a
I'm not.
single-parent household,
It's not a fact.
No. That's what you're saying.
That's what it's more than you're more likely to be a more stable person.
Statistically speaking.
Statistically,
Fox News
Not
over
that,
here.
not that you, not that you can't.
not that
if you're
you
coming from a
can.
single.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, but I think Dante's issue though is that he's making a blanket statement.
He's
like
making
that.
a blanket statement, like as in, just because you come from a single parent household, you are gonna be angry, or you're gonna want to get it, or you're gonna make bad decisions. It's people that come from dual parent households that be out here doing all kinds of stuff.
You essentially have an issue with his criteria.
I have an issue with him making blanket statements across the board.
It was a tasteless joke.
And yes, because he was laughing with it, they were all laughing, and yeah, bro. Like as somebody who come from a single parent household, maybe that's why it's
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it's personal.
we're here to affirm you. Like,
as somebody who comes from a single parent household.
You make really good decisions.
I made really good decisions, and I'm not mad all the time. So Deion, you can shove it.
You seem a little upset. But did y'all play? Or did y'all ever play football? I don't know if y'all,
When I was younger, but
what did
Yeah,
they say?
I'm an athlete.
What do they say about defensive players though?
What do they say?
What do they say? You play
Athlete.
football, right?
Defensive players are aggressive.
They say
want-
I need somebody that's a killer.
Yeah.
Somebody that's
looking. That's a headhunter. That's looking for heads.
That's what he said.
They used to say those are the psychos. They say stuff like that. So it's the same. It's like stereotyping them.
it is. So we know it to be true. It's just unfortunate, of course, during Black History Month to hear about stereotypical targeted recruiting.
My gosh, right?
Like that's what it is. So the same joke that Deion makes.
He didn't say nothing about black.
So
fair enough.
He did.
Yo.
So do y'all think now Deion says that everybody want to laugh? If a white coach said the same thing, all hell would break loose.
Did he say anything about the color of the player?
He did, but we don't.
I do think that. I think that plays a big role in it.
It was a
It does. Like I said, because that exposes a level of targeting that people do
And this-
outside of sports.
This speaks to y'all's bias. Y'all interpreted Deion Sanders as only affecting the black community.
Pictured a black person when he was talking.
But he's talking about situational. He's not talking about race.
He still pissed me off. So that's my update. Deion, he's no longer a gatekeeper. Take him off the pedestal. Knock him off.
Yeah, it always when people start to build themselves up on the pedestal and then they just have to say something.
Yeah,
It wasn't tactful.
it was not
wasn't
tactful.
Tactful. That's what
What
it
it was. It wasn't tactful.
But he's not a tactful individual.
That's Deion.
Prime time.
He's gonna be prime, and he has prime time now. So he's like, you're going to see more of that.
They should have never put some of y'all in front of that camera.
Hey,
Everybody got a camera now.
It's amazing how much pushback he's getting now that he left the HBCU though.
You don't think he was getting it before?
No. I mean, it was only the one where he's like, I am the HBCU.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he has more notoriety now. I think we knew about it more so in the HBCU community. Now he's transitioned into a more prominent and he's transitioned to a more prominent role now.
y'all know how this go. What y'all mamas tell y'all when y'all came up? What happened in this house? Stay in this house. When you start bringing this drama out to the neighborhood, it's a problem. Deion, in our house, we can talk like that. You get over here shucking and jiving on the Eisen show. That's a problem for me.
Okay.
And that's all I gotta say. I'm done. Drop the mics. I'm done with the episode.
Dang.
That's all you
All
got.
right. In lighter news and more celebratory news.
It better be light too.
Whoa. I might have to step back to my 2-parent house.
Justin is from a 2-parent household. He made plenty mistakes.
who was right there with me? Dontae.
Bad influence.
Bad influence.
because I'm from the single parent house. I influenced him. Wow. Finish your little statement, Justin.
Not little, but I do have an announcement to make.
Correction.
I wish we had drum roll. We should have. I need a little bit more. That's a rim shot.
That's a flat line.
So earlier in February, I got the opportunity to do a celebration.
Okay.
The celebration is a little bit it's personal, but I think it's time to share it with everybody else.
What was the
What was
celebration?
it?
Because I don't know.
I don't know either.
So on February 22nd, myself and my wife got to celebrate our 1 year anniversary.
Oh, hold on. Make sure.
You didn't get married until July.
What
June.
year?
Yeah, 1 year in February. So we actually did elope in February of last year.
Did y'all know that?
I didn't know that.
This boy got a secret marriage?
Congratulations.
No, and you know what was funny about this? I literally saw him post it, and I said, Justin, why did you post 222?
Yeah, he was like,
Wait.
That is of no significance.
yeah, he said you should have got married on the day.
Who knows about
Little
this?
did he know. Only myself and my wife.
Y'all, secret.
Wow.
We kept it from our parents, kept it from our siblings.
Justin, you're wild. Why did I spend all that money on that suit for? Y'all was already married.
This boy think he Romeo
Hold
and
up,
Juliet,
hold
bro.
up. Justin was portraying the whole time like he ain't been married.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you know, you're approaching the day. You're approaching that. How you feeling, bro? You ready? You ready?
He was married the whole time.
He's already married.
Y'all should know I'm a villain.
This,
Justin, what is going on?
the plot thickens. So did y'all even?
Did it feel like y'all was married before y'all had the wedding?
Oh yeah, it felt a lot like we were married.
Did y'all even cohabitate?
was there.
Because you're my cohabitation brother.
So technically,
really
no.
cohabitating.
So there was reasons behind it. Because ultimately, yes,
Nah, I don't want to hear this.
I know, Coop, I'm sorry. So
Yeah,
we
me
did talk
sitting
about
by
like
myself.
the housing situation. Like, hey, didn't want to move in before we were married.
So y'all got married?
Well, we got married.
Justin does make good decisions.
Wow.
It's because he's from a two-parent household.
So what prompted you to reveal it now?
So we celebrated a year. So it was like, okay, at this point, we don't want to come up into June and y'all like celebration. And we're
Yeah,
like,
because
hey.
I was about to be like, hey, it's about to be a lit summer.
And then I think
I'm stunned.
it brings a good conversation as far as like understanding. Like we didn't even tell our parents type thing. It's one of those things when it came down to marriage, especially like in the premarital stage. We wanted this to be us. Like it's us between us and God type thing. We don't want to have any level of like outside influence.
This whole time we thought it was us
yeah.
and God.
So wait, y'all legit went to the courthouse and got married.
So we took our engagement photos and Pastor Robert married us after we took our photos.
So he knew.
Yeah. But I mean, technically, yes. Yeah. He knew.
My mind is blown.
Me too.
I can't even trust you anymore.
Yeah,
What are
who
you
is
talking
this
about?
guy?
Justin,
So you want to know the real problem though?
What?
Who the real problem is?
Your parents?
No.
Your wife?
JJ is the one who actually kicked us off.
Me?
Yes.
What you mean?
Because we were having a conversation because I had announced my groomsman and my best man back in November.
Uh-huh.
Y'all got engaged in December.
Uh-huh.
We had a conversation in like early January, and JJ was like, "Man, like I appreciate the honor as being the best man." And he was like, "Hey, like I got to work on this speech." And he's like, "But I always thought I was going to be the first one to do the speech." But he was like, "Dontae's technically getting married first, and I ain't like that."
You are a villain.
You are feeling, bro.
So it's my fault.
It's really JJ's fault. He should have known not to tell me that.
Oh my! So he won.
This whole time you thought you was first.
No, I was first.
No, you weren't.
First at what?
That's wild. My mind is blown, bro.
I don't like you.
What are you talking about?
And forget your little anniversary. So what did y'all do to celebrate?
So we actually we went to a steakhouse, Dakota Steakhouse in downtown Dallas.
Oh yeah.
Underground steakhouse.
Yeah, the underground steakhouse.
Yeah.
I drove by it so many times, never knew what it was.
You got a steak?
Oh yeah, I got the New York strip.
Did it make a difference?
I think it did. So we went to, where did we go? Like
Perry's.
We went to Perry's a couple days before.
That
And I
was
just
mid
got
or
like
what?
a 6 inch. I mean 6 ounce.
Oh.
I mean,
Subway.
6 ounce, and it was decent.
You liked Perry's
Yeah.
better or Dakota's?
I like Dakota's better. But they both were really, really good. But I think when you can just tell the difference, just size alone. And it's kind of like, all right, I'm really just enjoying this, like the whole process.
I could get up and punch this man in his
Look, right,
face.
it's still resonating, bro. We're gonna be processing this We're gonna process this the whole episode.
I literally
Process is
was.
with celebration, joy.
So
It's a righteous moment.
I'm
two
happy for
two.
you.
So
Thank
it
you,
technically
That's
is
dope.
2 2 2 2
2
2.
And
Yeah.
we had
Is this
this.
because you're a deuce?
We got deuces.
And we had this conversation. In fact, I remember Justin saying, "Bro, we should get married. We should get married on 222.
Yeah, 222. Yeah.
Because Kim is also a deuce. And if you don't know anything about Greek life, deuces are the people who come second.
They're number 2.
They're number 2. It's the people who come second to the first people who are the best. But so
I'm
neither
just
here nor there.
jealous that like if a movie's ever made on your life, they can talk about the secret marriage. Like he's made his life story a little bit more lit. They secretly wed.
Nobody knew.
Well, technically, don't you get married when you get the marriage certificate?
Yeah, we did all of that.
No, I'm saying like
No.
So tell you, I got married before too.
What?
No, we did all of that same day.
You didn't do it before February?
Justin pisses me off. You know, and he's always been gunning for my spot.
No, you got
Always, he's always been gunning
He
for
was
my spot.
engaged. He was engaged first.
Anyway,
Congratulations, my brother.
congrats, bro.
Appreciate
Congrats
that.
on 1 year.
I can't wait to celebrate with y'all.
Oh, dang, that is coming up.
That is.
It's March now. It's coming up in May.
You got what? 2 months? Is it 2 months or?
It is 2 months. In fact, I could give you. It is exactly 78 days, and 15 hours.
He has a
11
counter
minutes.
for everything on his phone. It's really weird.
No, it's not. Is that my weird trait?
One of
Yeah,
them.
you're weird, bro.
No, it's only because I things that matter. I feel like I always want like a countdown to it.
Oh, yes, I put 222 in there.
Nah, forget that. I'm so pissed off. Anyway, move on.
I wanted to run something by y'all that one of our listeners, Loso, had posted on his IG. And there was a tweet, and it said, "Why is our generation so unhappy?" And here's some of the responses. "We cannot afford the life our parents lived. Our planet is dying. The standard of leadership has really dropped. Our society is morally decaying.
Sheesh.
Our kids have very little to enjoy from communal life. We know it's not getting better. Social media."
I agree with that to a certain extent.
So my question is, do you think that our generation is less happy than previous generations?
I do. I think that we have more, but we are less happy. But what was run me back the first point?
We cannot afford to live the life our parents lived.
I think that is untrue.
I do too.
We cannot afford to live the life our parents lived.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could afford a better life.
We can afford a better life, but for most of us, I think we are living outside of our means, bro. When I think about like what my mom, what we lived off of, bro, my mama legit was living. We was living off like $40,000, 2 kids, apartment. Now we got some, you know what I'm saying?
Apartment?
We had little government cheese. But my point is, we lived within our means.
This should have been on D-line.
We lived within our means because that's what we had to do. I was having this conversation with Olivia's parents because it was for them, you know, and they still lived on like they lived minimally. So our parents look at us and they like, y'all making all this money, but y'all always talking about y'all broke or y'all can't help. And it's because for a lot of us, we start making money, we start living outside our means. So you ain't trying to go get no little spot in the hood.
But how does that affect your happiness?
Because we have to spend more so that we can maintain our lifestyle. And ultimately, for a lot of people, if you're living outside of your means, you're having to either get second jobs or like you're always concerned about making more money or is it enough? And I think that's ultimately why we're unhappy. Because I think a lot of us living outside our means.
So wait, are we all identifying as unhappy?
No.
No.
Dontae.
Oh wait, no. It said as a generation. I'm saying collectively we have access to more, and I do agree that we are more unhappy.
I think another factor is I think the last point that you're talking about social media.
That's what I was gonna say.
I think that we have more like connection points, but we're lacking the physical connection.
Right.
Like everybody's behind the screen. Even now, because of the pandemic, we're remote. So a lot of people are remote. They're hybrid. They're not engaging socially the same way that we did before.
Hold on. If my boss listening, I don't want to engage.
But I'm
Keep
speaking
me remote.
I'm speaking more so to like, I think that happiness is affected by loneliness.
That's true.
And people are more lonely now than they ever were before, because there's this facade of like, I'm not lonely because I can get on the computer screen, but it's essentially reinforcing the loneliness because you're really by yourself. You don't have those physical social engagements.
That's facts.
It goes into what we talked about earlier. Everybody's trying to find their people. We were talking about like the cheerleading.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And to that point, I talked to our homeboy Brian earlier, and I told him, I said, bro, I see you so active on social media that it feels like I know what's going on in your life, but really I don't know what's going on in your life. And so as we start talking and start catching up, I'm like, dang, bro, I've been seeing you on social, but I really don't know what's actually going on with you.
Speaking as somebody who's not on social, it makes a big difference.
Right.
So like when I was on social, I felt like I was connected to a lot of people without having to really be connected with them. Now the reality to hit that, bro, I'm not that close with a lot of people. So unless I'm interacting with you from like a text message, a phone call, or I see you in person, bro, I don't hear from 9 out of 10 of the people that I was hearing from before, or that I had I had an awareness of what was going on in their life. It changes how you approach everything.
Well, you know what, JJ, that's interesting because I don't never hear from you. So
we record on the podcast live.
We record on the podcast every other week.
Yeah. I talked to you last week.
When did you talk to me last week?
Last Saturday.
Because we happened to record.
No, that wasn't last week.
I wasn't.
It was 2 weeks ago. But I did talk to you last week.
No. So this is the thing.
Justin can verify.
No. Technicalities. I do believe, though, to that point, well, as somebody who's off social media, because you always off of it, how are you keeping up with your friendships and relationships thing?
No, so I would say that's something I can do better at. I was just talking to somebody about this earlier this week. One of the areas that I'm not good in is keeping up with communication. And it's just, bro, unless I put it in my phone as like a reminder or something, it's like time in my head, it just goes by. So a week, I'm like, dang, it's already a week done passed. I haven't hit up so-and-so. And then it's like just busyness in the day-to-day. Yeah, I don't really be keeping up with people like that. It's not out of malicious intent. It's just that it's just kind of like more so out of sight, out of mind.
And that's why people are unhappy.
I would say, but still, does all this really lead to unhappiness? Do you feel like?
I think the loneliness leads to unhappiness.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think that people are connected on social, but they really are fiending for like a physical like interaction with people. It's different, bro. It's different like getting behind the screen. People can put on this facade. You don't necessarily know what's real, what's not. But when you can like, I can physically like slap Dontae or whatever that is.
Can you?
Don't touch me.
But it makes a difference, bro. It makes a difference.
Yeah, to that point. So, I mean, I was going to take the social media avenue, but also quite expand it out probably just to more like digital. So I think we, even ourselves, have kind of transcended to like a weaker generation. We don't have the same physicality as our parents and our grandparents because we have so many digital areas of convenience. So convenience has weakened our mindset, weakened our bodies type thing. So it leads us to be unhappy when we're compared to somebody who's like, hey, if we want something, we'll go get it. We'll go do what it takes. And I think that's the difference between our generations. So that leads us to be unhappy because it's kind of like, all right, they're more content because they know that they did everything they needed to do. If we don't have the levels of convenience or the digital aspect of it, sometimes it's kind of like, all right, I don't need to get that done, or I'll find another way to make myself happy. You kind of, it's levels of like escapism too.
Right. And I can prove that this is true, bro. Think back to a time that we all knew each other and we had the least that we have now, right? And let's say college. In college, bro, everybody broke. Somehow you scrounge up your money maybe for a little bottle for the weekend. But everybody is like broke and depending on each other. The biggest thing that you have is connection with your friends, because all of your friends, for the most part, are living in the same either neighborhood or vicinity or like apartment complex. And so you're literally the happy and you have the least amount. Whereas now we have more, but we may not be as happy because we don't see each other as much, or because we're trying to keep up, or we have like multiple jobs or multiple responsibilities. And so I think ultimately as a generation, we're taught that we gotta, look a certain type of way, have these type of things in order to maintain that lifestyle. You gotta go out here and grind.
I will say, I don't think that our generation is less happy than previous generation. There was a whole genre of music that was huge back in the day. Maybe you heard of it.
The blues?
The blues. I think our generation is more obsessed with trying to be happy. I don't think they were concerned about it. I think they were trying to make it through. They weren't trying to. We have enough time to sit back and be like, am I happy?
Yeah, I think that's the convenience aspect.
And they're like, I need to get through this day. I need to get through this. They're not even thinking about being happy. It's not a thought that goes by through their mind.
Bro,
thing.
I think it's a level of exposure too, though.
And I would say that back to social media.
Yeah, so I think social media or digital world expands the horizons. Right, so like back in the day, you were limited to what you read in the newspaper, maybe what you saw on television, and then what's in your community, and then maybe your work life. Now we have access to everything.
Stuff going on around the world.
And then the agenda of capitalism, bro, is just pushing like more. And so if an individual doesn't have a secure foundation, they're always wanting more. That leads to unhappiness because you'll never be fulfilled.
And
so it's comparison.
And this is why I think we may be okay, but I fear for like Jaden's generation.
Oh yeah, next generation.
Because the generation under us, bro, that's all they see is like social media. Like that is what is real world for them. In fact, I was talking to Jaden and she said, we were just talking about this idea that like everybody just feels like life is going to work out for them. Like they're just, all of them are going to be YouTubers or all of them are going to be like influencers. And I'm like, Jay,
some of y'all not going to make it.
I'm like, Jay, everybody can't make it, baby. If everybody influencing, who's buying? You know what I'm saying? And to her, she was like, dang, that's kind of true. I'm like, everybody can't make it in that realm. And it was like a light bulb went off for her. And so I think her generation is going to really be dealing with just what happens when life just don't go like you thought it would, thought it should, or that you've seen it go for other people on quote unquote social media.
Just do drugs.
And we probably will see an uptake in that as well. We probably will see an uptake in that as well.
I was going to say, bro, like on that same tip, I had to have a real heart-to-heart conversation with a student today because on that same topic, like we were talking about a hardship that they're experiencing, and they just kept saying, like, "Oh, it'll work out. It'll be okay." And I was like, "Hey, I'm going to give it to you real. Like, it's not going to just be okay.
Right.
Like, unless you take proactive steps, it's not going to be okay. It's not just going to happen.
It's not just hope.
I can tell you that right now. But in their head, it was just like, things will work out. It's not, baby. Like the situation you in right now, you're in this because it's not working out.
Right.
It's not going to work out.
Right. They do think it's like, I'm gonna be walking one day and somebody's gonna offer me a job or offer me $1 million. I'm like, bro, life don't work like that. It may work like that for some people, but it don't work like that for everybody. And so I think that was a great article to bring up just because, are we unhappy? Not necessarily.
We're aware of our unhappiness. I'll say that. That would be my take.
And I think, last statement, I think we are getting the things that we thought would make us happy and realizing that it's really the simple things that make us happy. Sometimes you got to give people what they want.
I like some of the materials as well.
I didn't say all of it. I said some of it.
But like you said, the first one, living like our parents, we don't want to live like our parents. Like a lot of our parents had
less.
Little house, 1-car garage. I don't want a regular house. I need a 2-story house. I need a 3-car garage.
Modern century.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody chasing happiness. Happiness is fleeting. You should be after joy.
Is that you? That's your quote?
He thought he ate.
That's me.
That man thought he ate.
He thought he ate.
Stupid.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of happiness and the pursuit of happiness, this wasn't necessarily directly a pursuit of happiness, but I did come to the realization that it is time for me to pursue counseling again.
Welcome.
I've listened back to a couple episodes.
Toxic.
I know I'm the self-titled villain, but I know it can have effects on other people. I apologize, Dante.
You want to be Brent Fayez so bad.
So within this counseling journey, it's been interesting. Like even just the process of trying to find a counselor.
Right.
Like no one really kind of gives you the heads up, but like you really have to like go out and like date and pursue
Yes, bro.
a counselor.
You have to try different ones.
Yeah. And it's not, especially at this point of like married life type thing, you don't think about putting yourself in a situation where I got to like introduce myself to somebody. You have to understand their vibe. You have to realize that I'm also paying for them as well.
Right.
And make sure I'm actually getting something out of it.
Right.
So that process is very, it was very tedious. And I realized even as I'm going through the process, part of the reason why I needed to go through the process, I eliminated a lot of people just based off of looks.
Before you even talk to them.
Yeah,
or
bro, we just not
anything.
gonna vibe, bro.
They don't look like they can help.
Yeah.
Do you know? Are you looking for like a man, woman, black man,
Yeah, so
black woman?
I worked my way through like the levels of filtering. So like I know I wanted, of course, a black person.
Mm-hmm.
I've done stints before, and I've had black women. So I was like, all right, let me try a black man this time.
Okay.
Even when I'm going through like their levels of like their areas, kind of like race related and also faith based. Those are two qualifiers. I don't want any students. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Don't know why that's offered, but
I mean, technically, they
Cheaper?
graduated.
Yeah.
It's usually less expensive.
it is,
Yeah.
yeah. But I
Because they have
ain't
to
trying
get
to
their-
gamble.
they
They have to
get
get their
hours.
training hours. They have to
That's
get their
cool.
training
Not
I don't want to be
me.
older than my therapist.
Yeah,
You don't feel like you can learn from somebody younger?
Yes, but I don't want somebody that's experienced, that's seen some stuff.
same level. I was
Yeah.
like, I want somebody older, but not too old.
Right.
There was a couple of them was a little bit over the limit.
Like a 5 to 10 year range would be perfect.
Y'all got
Really?
lists.
We
Bro,
talking about dating. You don't have your dating list?
bro, mine was like, he's probably like 25 years older than me.
I can accept that too.
He's like 25 years
You
older
probably
than
have
me.
an old soul. That's probably what you like.
You feel like 25 years is too much?
What is that? That's 55 type thing?
Yeah, I think he was like 55.
No, I think I was like 10 years above. I think that's the range. I want us to be able to still resonate and not look at you as my father.
That's reasonable.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, did I pick him because I had daddy issues?
Stable.
And this is why Justin in therapy.
Said, I have a dad.
I don't need you to be my daddy. I got a daddy.
But I mean, that also brings a weird concept to it too. Like trying to figure out, like I ultimately found one. I have a couple that I still need to try, but I went through a couple sessions with one, and it's like, all right, like introduction type thing. He's a very soft-spoken individual. I don't come from a soft-spoken household. Like I come from a lot of aggression,
You need a counselor that's gonna cuss you out.
and that's ultimately what I told him as far as expectations. Like I want somebody who's gonna hold me accountable and be like straight shooter with me. My mentor's a straight shooter. Like my pastor's a straight shooter. Like those are the people in my life. Like so, but he's like, that's not necessarily how I go through my methods. Like I'm more the passenger. Like you tell me where you want to drive, and I'll help direct you. I was like, all right, strike one, but like we gonna work through this. So it's cool. Like my overall goal is to like help with my level of empathy. So I was like, all right, I'll stick with him because he is empathetic. That's one of his methods. He wants to be able to feel how you feel and try to work you through it.
That's the opposite of you, boy.
Cool, whatever.
So what made you know that you needed to talk to somebody? Because Kiana's asked me to talk to somebody. I'm like, I'm self-aware. I can figure this. Like
You need to go talk to somebody.
Well, I'm transparently, I still don't necessarily feel like I need to talk to
That's
somebody.
how I feel.
But it's like, all right, let me give it an opportunity. Like let
Okay.
me give it a shot and like see like what's the benefits. Because I mean, JJ, Dante, y'all have done counseling before. And y'all have given reviews that it's been beneficial in situations. So it's like, all right,
When you find the right one.
yeah, it's a tool. So ultimately, I want to make sure I'm using all the tools in the tool house.
What made put y'all over the edge to make you say, I need to talk to somebody?
Olivia made me go, or she was gonna break up with me.
But you wouldn't have gone otherwise.
I realized I had issues.
Was it something that you're like, I can't figure this out?
Bro, I will tell you exactly what it was. I had a problem with Olivia making more money than me and me being insecure about that.
Why are you laughing?
Why is that so funny to you?
What's wrong?
Hey,
Why
we
is
in
it
the
so funny
place to
to
say
you?
space.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, I don't want to talk
Am
anymore.
I safe to be myself too? Or is he the only safe one? I'm sorry, go ahead, Dontae.
The safeness go whoever got the mic.
Okay, go ahead.
And so
Everybody got a mic.
And so, shut up. And so my wife said, well, at that time we were dating. She said, bro, I think you need to go talk to somebody about that. And honestly, she gave me the push. It was like a Christmas gift or something. She was like, I'll pay for like your first session. Or
Damn,
first
that
two
probably
sessions.
didn't help.
I'll pay for it. I know I have the money.
It was the and I went and I enjoyed it and I just kept going back.
Okay.
So honestly, I went begrudgingly,
But
it
you
wasn't
didn't
like
feel
I was. I just went because I recognized I needed to go talk to somebody, but I had not taken the steps to actually go.
Yeah.
So for me, I've actually been on 2 occasions now.
Okay.
So I went maybe 4 years ago now for the first time.
Okay.
That was actually, I remember I was in a conversation in a parking lot talking to Justin. And I was like talking through some things, and Justin was like, but Justin basically was like, hey, bro, it sounds like you might need to go to therapy. He was like, he was like,
Go talk to somebody about your feelings because I'm not one of them.
well, he basically was like, I mean, there's my opinion is biased,
Right.
is what he was saying.
That's
and he's
real.
like, I think it would be helpful for you to talk to somebody who's non-biased, who can give you maybe some like a different perspective. So I was like, all right, maybe I can heed that advice, and I went, right? If so, I wouldn't say that was necessarily under my own volition. The second time was encouraged by my wife also, but I had the recognition that I was not, I essentially was not okay, right?
weren't at your best.
I was showing up and I was like not operating like how I normally operate. I wasn't functioning how I feel like I normally function. I wasn't performing like I feel like I'm capable of performing. So I'm recognizing all these indicators. And it actually took me a while to take a step.
Okay.
Because I'm self-aware. I'm all right. I'm self-evaluating. I'm reflecting. I can figure out my own process. I can figure out what I need to do. And so I'm good at that. I'm just kind of checking the box. I'm going through it. But I think it really came to a point where it was continuous. And so I was like, all right, let me take a step and see, let me explore and see if this can be beneficial for me.
Why were you so willing the first time with Justin? Just because you trusted Justin's insight so much, or is it?
No, I think at that point I had pretty much hit rock bottom.
Okay.
No.
I definitely didn't do it because I trusted Justin.
It wasn't that. It was before Justin mentioned it, bro. Other people had mentioned it already.
Okay.
They were suggesting hey, maybe you should think about therapy, different things like that. But it was bro, I had hit a real low point, and so I hadn't got to a low point like that before. So it made me be like, all right, I'm more aware of maybe I need to seek out some help.
Justin, are you not? What's the word? Are you not cautious? Are you not? You have no type of hesitancy of what a therapist can change in you?
Not yet. I think that might happen when I know for sure I have the right one.
Okay.
Right now, I can talk to him and be like, hey, I'm still somewhat on edge or I'm somewhat defensive. And that also somewhat led to part of our problem in our consultation. And it's but if you're a good therapist, you'll work it out. So that's my challenge to him. Type
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, it is certain aspects of stuff that we talked about before, ultimately, if a counselor gets their full vision or their full opportunity with somebody, they're really going to make a change in them. And it might not be what you want to get rid of. So part of it is hey, my level of snappiness, he's going to want to try to work that out to figure out all right, why are you so snappy?
Let's explore that.
Yeah. And it's going to ultimately be hey, you don't have to say that, or you should think of something else to say. But I feel like that is the best thing to say.
Yeah.
And that is 100% me.
Yeah, you need to go to
Is that what you are hesitant about?
I'm afraid of letting somebody into my mentality and them changing it, and I don't have I'm not who I want to be anymore.
Yeah.
Or who I think I want to be, or who I think I am. You know
But what if talking through the process helps you to figure out that you don't want to be that person no more, or that that's not the best person for like your family or your loved ones and all that.
That's the best. That's ultimately what he put it to me, because he asked me ultimately like how I feel about myself. I feel great. I'm, like, I'm the best version of myself. But he's like, how do you affect other people?
Oh,
they might not agree.
Oh my
God. I'm the best version of me.
Yeah, you need to stick with him.
It's one of those things where you might feel a certain type way about yourself, like how you look or how you're portrayed, until you see a picture of yourself. And then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I think that's part of therapy, is like putting a mirror up to yourself to say, look at you, and look at you from this perspective, because sometimes we have blind spots.
Yeah.
But I will say, to your point, because I feel like there's a lot of people probably who is afraid of like letting somebody in and then them, I guess, quote unquote, changing. We're all changing in some form or facet, but I think that there's a misnomer that somebody else can really change you. Like, you have complete autonomy. So like, you have to be receptive to it to then say, oh, I'm going to change. Right. At the end of the day, you get to make the determination to say what you're saying is valid or it's not valid. Yeah, I can apply it or I don't want to apply it.
That's right.
I can decide to make that change or I don't want to make that change. All they're doing is like bringing up perspective or insights, and you get to, determine what you want to do with that.
Exposure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not changing. Maybe they're exposing you.
And be clear, bro. You can work the system. If you go to therapy, you can.
God.
No, for real. No, for real, bro. If you go to therapy and you are not you're only going to get as much as you give. So if you go in and you aren't being as transparent, or you aren't letting your therapist into like certain areas of your life, they can only work with you on the areas that you quote unquote feel comfortable in.
That leads me to part of our conflict in our session. He tried to test my level of transparency. So we wanted to play a little game. Stupid game. So I'm gonna play a game with
irritated.
You gonna play the game with us?
Let's play the game.
Excited.
Okay.
I'm excited.
All right. I can't do the soft spoken part. I'm soft spoken already. He was even more soft spoken than me. Yes.
No.
Not whispering.
Yes. Very, very slow.
So I want to play a game with you.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Oh, no, that's creepy, bro. Hey, pick your voice up when you talking to me.
Put your pants back on, man. Why are your pants down? What's going on? That's the first session. I did not come here for all that.
Whoa.
I came here for therapy and that's it.
Okay.
Shut up. Y'all can't take nothing
It
serious.
wasn't that type of game, Coop.
Oh no.
This is virtual.
Even worse.
I'm hanging up. So the game has to do with word repetition.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a word, and you're gonna say it 5 times. Each time you say it, you're gonna clap.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry for the listeners. We'll try to bring the claps down. Hopefully it's not in your ears too much. All right. But when I'm saying the word, I need you to focus on the word.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Clear your mind. Take 10 seconds. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Clear
Clap
your
one
minds.
time after the word.
Every time you say the word, we're going to say it 5 times. So you're going to clap 5 times. When you say the word, you're going to clap at the same time.
Okay.
All right. But I need you to focus.
And listeners, we need you to do this.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Unless you're driving.
Okay. The word is white. All right.
Okay.
WHITE.
You have to
Thank
say
you.
it,
You have to
fool.
say the word.
He said all white.
No,
Yeah, but you need to say
you
it
have
too.
to say it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll
so
say
we're
it
gonna,
with you.
Yes. So
Okay.
we're going to say it 5 times. You ready?
Okay.
All right. White.
White.
I need y'all to clap together. White.
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 What does a cow drink?
Milk.
Milk.
Does a cow drink milk?
No. Water.
What does a cow drink?
Cow
Water.
drinks water. A cow drinks water, Dontae.
You idiot!
But
What kind of mind game is this?
I want you to realize in that moment you were listening, you were focused in. So that's why you said milk. You know milk is not the right answer. I know you're smarter than that, but you were led to believe.
Be leery of this guy.
Yeah, you're trying to break your mind. This fool Justin, if he got a teacup, that fool gonna be sitting there looking to the teacup. Okay, hold on.
So we're gonna do another one.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Hit me.
But because I know y'all are smart, I don't want you to try to fight this.
Okay.
Oh no!
Okay.
Okay. So I want
Pants
you
off.
to be.
Pants
I
off.
want you to be relaxed. I want you to
Okay.
think of something like,
okay.
think of food. Think of like, it's Thanksgiving,
Vegan
like, or
food
you want
house.
a roast. Like,
Okay.
it's a really good roast. It's been roasting all over. Like,
Mushrooms.
yeah, roast. Put your favorite vegetables in there.
Gravy.
Yeah, you can get the vegetables only, but yeah, it's been marinating. It's been cooking for like 12 hours. So just focus on that. So the word is gonna be roast.
Okay.
All right. So when I say roast, I want you to clap and say it 5 times. Okay.
Okay.
Roast.
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 What do you put in a toaster?
Toast.
Bread.
Bread.
Now, JJ and Coop, y'all hesitated a little bit. Why is that?
Because we had to think.
Why did you think? Why
I
didn't you
didn't
just
wanna
say
ex-
what was natural?
I didn't
I
want
didn't
to.
trust.
I like to think before I speak.
But that wasn't part of the exercise.
You're right.
I just wanted you to react.
Well, I don't know.
Well, when you react, you're wrong.
I sure was about to say toast.
I was too.
So yeah, we'll try one more time. But this time I want you to be focused. I don't want you to
Okay.
pause and respond. I
Okay.
want you just to react.
Okay.
Instantly.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the word is top. All right.
Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about how you want to think about it.
Top. Oh, wait. I'm too
All
anxious.
right. Top.
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 What do you do at a green light?
Stop.
Go.
I'm trying to run.
So yeah, so that was the exercise. It was about like reaction and response.
At the green light.
You go.
Do I stop because I'm afraid to go? Do I have fear
Are you fighting?
issues?
Are you fighting your natural inclination?
He broke my mind.
That's not bad.
I don't. My therapist didn't play no games like
Yeah.
that.
Y'all took it better than I was pissed.
Really?
Well, Justin don't like stuff like that because Justin like, but what this got to do with?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to trick me? I can obviously win this game.
Yeah.
So Justin, this is why I think you need to find a therapist that's not gonna let you run the session.
Yeah.
Like my therapist didn't let me run the session. In fact, I would go. Sometimes I would look forward to it, but a lot of the times I would be like, because he would give me homework and stuff. I would be like, oh, bro, I don't want to go to this session, just because I knew it was gonna be a level of accountability, and he was gonna be like, but no, this is what we discussed that you needed to work on.
Right.
So like, why did you not work on it? And then because you didn't work on it, here's who's gonna be impacted and how it's gonna be impacted.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to find the therapist. I don't know
Your
if I-
therapist number.
Yeah, I think that. You like that? You like that game? I think that like that's the importance of shopping around because there's a lot of
Right.
different approaches and strategies to therapy. I've never
Yeah.
had a therapist do something like play a game like that, but it may work for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I think it's you have to figure out what type of therapist you want. For some therapists, their whole goal is some people don't feel like they're heard, and so their therapist's whole goal is just to shut up and let you
listen.
talk
Yeah.
and listen. That don't necessarily work for me. I got y'all. I got people to listen to me.
Right.
I got my wife to listen to me. I need somebody who's going to hear me, but then also like challenge me.
Yeah, I need a
to-
challenger.
to work on these areas. So I don't need somebody that's gonna just kind of let me just go do whatever.
So how do you feel about the counseling sessions so far?
Take that out of it. I was fine with it because it was very much so he was listening. And as the session progressed, I was trying to work through like, all right, don't try to like explain things in a targeted manner. Like I can convey my way.
Right.
But it's like, all right, let me try to take a step back and allow him to give some level of rebuttal. My thing is I don't necessarily want to drive in these sessions. I would rather him like, hey, this is kind of where we need to focus on and just pick. Because if I drive, I'm going to drive the way that I want to drive.
Right.
But I think the game, that type of stuff, helps me realize that, like, all right, you know that you're trying to drive this thing and you're ruining the game. Because that's ultimately what happened. Like, for the second time, like, no, I'm going to get it right.
Right.
You're not about to play me on my own dime.
Yeah.
So he addressed that as far as like reaction and response.
You
and
have
like
control
ultimately,
issues.
per se. People just don't know how to control their own situations. I just
Justin, just pay me. I've been friends with you a long time. I can tell you all the things wrong with you.
sure.
But I will say this: I think therapy is good for anybody because you can have a level of transparency that sometimes we don't even have with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that is the benefit of going, like, finding you a counselor, because you legit can go in there and just talk through, like, if you find the right one, talk through some deep issues and some deep hurts that you have. And a good one will take you on the journey, and they'll make you see that these are areas that you need to work on.
I think also, like, having a realistic expectation of of how you approach therapy. Because whenever I approach therapy, I was thinking, like, when I go to this therapy session, basically this therapist is going to help fix or find a solution for the issue that I have, right? And I had to come to realize that to Dontae's point, I'm only going to get out what I'm willing to give or what I'm willing to put in. Like, the person the therapist on the other end doesn't have a magic wand to say, like, these are your issues and this is what you need to do. And like that, you're basically improved from the position that you were in before that.
Yeah.
A lot of that is, like, I recognize, because the way, at least my therapist style was, like, so tell me about, like, what's been going on or how you've been doing, right? So I have to divulge information. I have to be transparent. I have to be willing to put myself out there to say, like, this is the things that I'm navigating, and then we work through those.
Right.
And then the following session, if I didn't, like, complete an assignment or if I didn't have a level of reflection, there was no progress. Mm-hmm. It all depends on, like, how much you're willing to do in the session. Like, you still have to be the driver to a certain extent, you know.
Nah, I wanted them aha moments. Like, all right, oh dang, all right, we ain't gotta meet no more.
I do that.
Well, Justin, I think you're gonna have to go into it with a open mind.
We'll see what happens. You gonna give us a progress report or what?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
keep y'all
But shout out
updated.
to you for going to therapy.
I love the fact that you took that step.
And shout out to you for getting Coop to think about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coop have to be with your
Milk.
therapist.
I'm gonna win the game though, because I know the trick.
He got the note.
Water. 10 minutes later.
You tried it.
10 minutes later, Coop gonna be laying on this couch. The man gonna be on the screen, and Coop gonna be crying. I've always been like this. I just never. No, that's good, bro. I think one of the things that where we as men need to go to therapy is because this whole idea of just masculinity. Mm-hmm. And there's always this talk, like we see other podcasts talk about it. We see everybody has an opinion about men's masculinity.
Mm-hmm. Everybody got an opinion about everything.
Everybody got an opinion about everything. And so this week we saw a couple of things where I say there was masculinity and people was taking shots at it, bro. A couple of different ones. Now I want to peel them off one by one because I think we need to talk about them. Number one, Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors. We know that Creed is coming out. Creed
Can't
3.
wait to see it.
Creed 3. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to go sit down.
Michael B. Jordan is directing it.
He's directing it as well. Mm-hmm. And so they did a photo shoot and for the New York Times, I believe, and it's black and white photos, but they're in what some would see in the black community as weird, intimate poses. Like there's pictures of them where their heads are right next to each other. There's one where Michael B. Jordan is sitting down, and Jonathan Majors has his hands around like his shoulders, and like just kind of like in an embrace,
like the MLK statue.
with the arm, but no hands. Pissing me off. But yes, and so that goes on Twitter, and of course the black people see it on Twitter and they run with it. What is this? No men should be this close together. There's something weird about this. And it was almost like, dang, I think we don't see black men in these vulnerable kind of positions often. And so when we do see it, it's weird. Like, so it started this whole debate about like, just men embracing each other and like even just hugging and stuff like that. And so that was one of the things. But then it could be something as serious as that. And then something on the total other hand, apparently men can't smoke hookah. Apparently if you smoke hookah, you're a hookah hottie. And so we saw people talking about Michael B. Jordan, but then we also saw people, DJ Envy from the Breakfast Club is smoking. It was a photo of him where he was in the club and he was smoking hookah, and it came out, and Charlamagne the God was giving him a hard time because he was saying men should not be in the club blowing hookah.
We were just talking about hookah too.
And it was just funny that people were just also now talking about something that is just a general thing, but apparently men can't do that. And we always hear these stories about men can't do this. Men can't embrace. Men can't smoke hookah. Men can't do this. Men can't do that. Michael B. Jordan called the young woman out for making fun of him in high school for calling him corny. And apparently men can't speak up for themselves either because he was all of a sudden wrong.
It's a lot of rules and regulations.
It's a lot of rules and regulations on men and masculinity. And it's almost like everybody just has something to say. I want to get y'all's opinion on that, like from just as a man, as people who can speak on this for real. How does it make y'all feel to see people have all these limitations and all these things on masculinity?
I mean, I think it just goes to show like people's limited, I don't know if the word's exposure or capacity to think, maybe. Like masculinity can be, it's so many different things. It's layered. I think it's very layered definition on masculinity. So I think this shows people's limited range of thought.
I want to ask y'all something because y'all come from 2-parent households. Because it also was raised up a while back because there was a dad who kissed his son, grown man, and kissed him on the cheek. Did y'all dads do that to y'all?
Wasn't it like Tom Brady who kissed his kids?
He kissed his son on the mouth.
Yeah, on the mouth.
I think it was like Will Smith that kissed him.
My dad would kiss me like on my forehead and stuff like that.
No, my dad didn't.
Nah, not in this immigrant household.
That's a little different.
Nah. My pops never really did that. Like, even like I think occasionally we would maybe embrace for like a hug, but for the most part, it wasn't that type of affection shown.
I just think that is so. That's probably why it took you so long to say I love you to us.
I mean, so he would articulate that, like he would tell me he loves me, but it wasn't like
touch wasn't one of the ways that he showed you.
Yeah,
love.
affection.
Nah, like affection wasn't.
Which even sounds weird saying that out loud.
I mean, yeah. So I think we have to break it down for ourselves and understand like. As we've grown, we've been more accepting to it, but a lot of us emulate our fathers to a certain degree, and if they didn't have a good concept of it, then it's harder for us.
Okay.
So it is a level of kind of decluttering, especially since we kind of grew up on the edge of social media. So things that we thought could have been like masculine, you see it on TV, and it's like, oh, it's not masculine anymore. Or you see the opposite, and it's like, oh, like how do I really define what I want to be and what I'm willing to accept? Because a lot of it is defined by, if you allow it, is defined by others. They tell you what it's not.
Right.
You can grow up your whole life feeling like, all right, I am the most masculine thing until somebody tells you that you're not.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like most of the things that appeal for men at an early age are trying to justify, trying to show you what the ideal picture of a masculine man is. And that's typically, or at least when we were growing up, that was typically like in the hero format, or it was like, this person is like, strong, they don't cry, they are aggressive, whatever. They have these certain characteristics, and like society wants to dictate and tell you what this looks like. But I think there's so many layers of masculinity, right? Early on, I read this book called The Tender Warrior, and it was talking about somebody who was like a top general in the military.
Right.
It was talking.
Reading is masculine.
Hey man,
is reading masculine?
Because y'all feel different. But the whole premise of the book was talking. It was I think the author was a general in the military. But it was this concept of like he was his mentor was a masculine man, but mentor, he saw his mentor cry. He saw his mentor talk through emotions, all these different things. And this is the top general of the military. They're going off to war. And he's like, he's strong in battle, but he was tender in his love and his affection. And it just showed the duplicity of a man. Like sometimes you got to be strong. Sometimes you got to be tender for your family. You got to be tender for your wife, for your kids, for whoever that is. There's more than society paints a picture of it. But I think that as men, I think society, for the most part, and the majority of people struggle with insecurities.
Yeah.
So when they see the picture of man, now they start to question what they are navigating, what they're going through, because it doesn't match up. But I mean, you got to take into consideration that society wants you to conform and wants you to have a group think, and wants everybody to be the same. Yeah. So there's no opportunity for uniqueness. There's no opportunity for idiosyncrasies. Like I got to be the same as you. I got to show up the same way.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
No, that is good.
And I'll even say, when we were talking about prime, when you're talking about the 2-parent household, I think that's a big aspect about being balanced. So like, even though maybe y'all's parents, your dads might not have been the most affectionate in whatever type of way, you've still seen your parents struggle, your dad struggle in something. You've seen them down.
My dad ain't struggle.
Whereas I feel like a lot of people that maybe they didn't have a dad in the household, they only see the exterior man. So they only see, like when we go outside, we put our armor on.
Yeah.
You only see a man in armor. You never see him take his
it
armor off.
Yeah.
So you think this is what a man is, and at the same, you don't see the other side of it.
That's a good point.
No, that is good. I think for a lot of the people who are coming up with these ideas about what masculinity is, what masculinity isn't, ultimately, I think a lot of these people have father wounds, like whether they're woman or male, and you can have your dad grow up in your household and y'all still not have an emotional connection. In fact, my life group, we're going through this whole thing about a man and his story, and this is whole video series about just how a man's relationship with his father, whether his father was absent or there or just there and emotionally absent, and how that ultimately impacts a man and your view on manhood. So it said it impacts it in 3 ways. It said either a man with a father wound as they defined as an ongoing emotional, social, or spiritual deficit that's caused by the lack of healthy relationship with dad and now must be overcome by other means. It said it happens in 3 ways. 3 things happen. Either he's angry or in pain. So, which is one what I think we see the most, right, in our society. But the second one was bottling up the feelings. I would say that we see this where you're not as forthcoming with your emotions. It's harder for you to connect with and form deeper relationships because you're just bottling up. But then another one was an inner sense of lostness or incompleteness, like never feeling like you can be a man because there's always this deficit missing, or like there was something that you needed to be taught that was not taught. And these are things that your dad can be in your home or outside of your home. But ultimately, I think when everybody's talking about and coming up with these ideas about masculinity, to that point, it's all coming from a specific type of lens of the type of male you've seen or the type of man you have not seen and what you've been told that manhood looks like.
That was really good, bro. You even made me think, because I was talking about from a man's perspective, but it's also from a woman's perspective. Yeah. And we wonder why, like, girls like bad guys. Right. Because they show off as aggressive, tough, and that's their idea of what a man is, because maybe they didn't have a father in the household.
Bro, I'm saying it is a real thing, bro. Hey, and as we were diving deeper into that, video in that series, all these guys were sharing, guys who had their dad in their home, guys who had their dad who did not grow up with a dad, and everybody to a certain extent had a father wound. Like even the ones who were like, my dad was there, but he wasn't there emotionally. Like my dad was never, he provided, but he wasn't there, or my dad was absent, or my dad chose not to be there. And so I think it ultimately all this comes from people.
That made me think about something different, like, and it's related, but it's in a different direction. But that thought process of like talking about father wounds, but also like how in the home and outside the home, men don't necessarily show emotion or affection in that regard, made me think about it from a faith standpoint. And I think that's why a lot of times as Christians or as believers, we have a hard time with the concept of love from from God or from Jesus because of our perception of what our earthly fathers or lack of fathers show. And so then when it comes to like the faith movement and like what does it look like to receive this love from God? If I didn't receive the love from my father or from my father figure, how do I then receive this as a believer? How do I receive this in my faith? And I think that's where, just thinking about it from a faith standpoint, I think that's where sometimes people struggle with father issues or father wounds, and that can impact your ability to receive that in the faith as well.
Everybody screwed up.
But there's hope.
Is there?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Open the book, brother.
Open that book.
But I think that's it. I think you can't silo masculinity. Like there's layers to masculinity. You can't just throw out one definition and say this is masculinity.
Right.
It has to be all encompassing.
That's what a lot of people try to do. They try to say this is what masculinity looks like, and your opinion's stupid.
Is that masculine?
Oh my God, it was a nine.
You being aggressive?
But see, me taking my opinion back, that's beta. Because a man says what he says.
What alpha man over here?
He stands 10 toes on what he said. So I ain't taking nothing back
At all.
I heard it say a real man knows when he's wrong and can accept responsibility.
You know who said that?
Who said that?
A Mitch.
A beta man. You can't tell me because I'm masculine. And on that note,
is it time?
It's time
for the sound bite of the week.
Here we go.
I don't know why y'all keep making me read.
We determined today. So technically, if you don't mess up some of the words of the quote, you're not a real man. Because men don't read.
Bad. And with that being said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. You know who said that?
Who?
Abe Lincoln.
Is he a real man?
Your boy.
Can men wear hats?
He let your people go, bro.
Not your people.
What he say? What Abe say?
Yeah, say it again, brother.
The best way to predict the future is to create it. And as a man,
every man should have vision.
You know what? I want to come back to this. I want to put a pin on this, but I want to come back to this. As a believer, do you create your future?
He thought he ate.
I did. That was deep, bro. That was vegan. Do you create it? Or is it already created?
By the creator?
Yes, sir.
Food for thought.
Hey, man.
Y'all think on that.
Chew on that. Chew on that.
Yeah, chew on that for a little bit.
That's a whole nother 30 minutes.
Hey, we appreciate y'all tapping in. Hey, y'all, as always. No. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all said y'all want to see us, right? As you can see. Hold on, I'm just reminding y'all of what y'all said.
Yeah.
Y'all said y'all want to see us, right? Go subscribe to that YouTube. What's the YouTube called, Coop?
The Soundboard Podcast.
Soundboard podcast.
Go subscribe to that YouTube.
Soundboard Podcast.
Y'all want to see us? If the videos drop the week after, we drop the audio. We drop the audio. We drop the video. The video gives you a background.
Give them the day.
Wednesday.
There you go.
The next Wednesday. Audio one Wednesday. The next Wednesday is the video. We give y'all a peek into what we see and looking at each other as we record. So please go subscribe.
Yeah, Coop, you ain't got no pop.
I got no pop for my
I got you.
It's because I didn't clapping early.
That's what it was.
Go subscribe.
I think we're at 25 subscribers right now. I need to see 50.
50. I think 50 is
250.
Double that.
250.
250. And
We think 25 of y'all.
okay, I'll tell y'all this. 25 by the next time we come, or y'all go see no more videos. I'm a man in masculinity, and he ain't no beta man. You gotta set the tone. I'm setting the tone.
That's right.
But also, guys, you can keep us with us on Instagram as well at the Soundboard Podcast. Also, on your favorite audio platform, whether that's Spotify
Or Apple.
Apple Podcasts. You can find us on there as well at the Soundboard Podcast. Now, guys, if you want to keep up with your boy Dontae, you can follow me at Dontae Speaks Life. That's Dontae. I'm thinking about changing my Instagram name, but I can't figure out what I'm.
You're not speaking life no more?
It's over? It's over for that?
For longevity.
I'll let y'all know, but for right now, Dontae Speaks Life. Follow your boy.
And if you want to follow Coop, you can find me at thisiscoop_.
You can follow JJ_Jeremy J.
Don't DM him.
All things Big KJB at Just a Fiasco.
We out.
Peace.